Hello everyone! How's everyone doing? Ah. There we go. I hope you've had a wonderful day. I know I have. So today we will be starting out with 7 minutes of superimposed lines, 7 minutes of ghosted lines, and then we'll hop into the third exercise and do that one. And then we'll hop over to free play. So, superimposed line is here. Sending it in the chat, just in case someone forgot. I will set a timer for 7 minutes and then we do the superimposed lines warm up. Ah, there we go. And remember, as you're doing this, it's best to simply rotate the paper and do the same angle every time, as we learned yesterday. So there's no need to invent multiple different angles. Use a ruler to set your initial lines. Remember to relax from your shoulder and draw from there. Not your waist, not your elbows. Blueberries, apples, and these. Got some herbal tea as well. Alright, so... remember to look at where your line is going, not the pen itself. Long, confident lines, no wobbling. If you're wobbling, then you don't really need to focus on precision, you just need to focus on getting straight lines. And if your lines are slightly arcing, arc them in the opposite direction. If you are making very straight lines, then focus on precision instead. There's no rush. Everyone learns at their own pace. No one will get left behind. Remember to relax your shoulders so you aren't straining it. Personally, I find it easier drawing towards myself. I get much finer and precise lines, and it's less strain on my muscles. Because then what you're doing is relaxing your muscles rather than tensing them or flexing them to get it outwards. Yes, I enjoy keeping a lot of healthy foods right at my fingertips, and then unhealthy snacks like chips, I hide them away in a cupboard out in the kitchen, so if I'm just peckish, I'll subconsciously grab whatever is closest to me, and if I really do feel a craving, then I can go all the way out to the kitchen and get something, but that hasn't happened for multiple years now. Simply because, so the way cravings actually work is, you have more neurons in your stomach than you do in your brain, and bacteria in your gut will hijack these neurons and send signals up to your brain saying, feed me more of this. So, if you simply stop eating one food, then that kind of bacteria will die out and you will stop getting signals for that food. And then you won't have cravings for it anymore. But the healthy foods you do eat regularly, since they're right next to you, you'll start having cravings for those, and they will be just as satisfying as a bag of chips or an apple is as well. Alright, 7 minutes are up. Now we will hop over to 7 minutes of ghosted lines. Remember, ghost the line until you can accurately hit the dot, or until you just feel comfortable with the line you're about to draw. Try doing long lines if you want to challenge yourself. Remember, if you're arcing your lines, try to arc them in the opposite direction. Payne says if you're having trouble getting them straight, try slowing down a bit. You don't have to hurry. As it is with everything in life, there's nothing to hurry or worry about, really. Any worries or anything you feel stressed about, gotta realize that it's you who's creating it in your own mind. No one is holding you to gunpoint and saying, gotta get this done. If you remove your mind, all your problems would be gone as well. And this is simply because anything we perceive as a problem is a thought. The real world doesn't actually contain problems, it's something we create ourselves in our own mind. It's one of the things meditation is very good at teaching you, that you actually have control over what your mind says. You might not feel it right now, but you'll get it eventually if you have a daily 20-minute meditation practice. Remember to relax your shoulder. And remember that you can rotate the paper. You don't need to make every line a different angle. Of course problems exist, yes, but it's the fact that you label them as a problem that makes it a problem. A homeless person can be very happy. A handicapped person can be happy. A poor person can be happy. Happiness is not limited by the external circumstances, unless we choose to define it as such. Of course, viewing the world like this doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything. On the contrary. Phantasmo says, don't take it so literally. I think Froppy means changing your point of view can help. Yes. I'm only talking about your mind. I'm not touching the physical world right now. I'm happy you're enjoying it, Phantasmo. I am as well. Having a steady group is very great. And time is up. So we will be hopping over to the new exercise now. End music. Alright, lesson time. I don't know why you can't post anything. As you can see here, if I go into settings, and then, where was it? There's somewhere where I could like do moderation things, but everything should be turned off. If anyone can find out why it's deleting some of the messages, let me know in the DMs. Because I haven't been able to figure it out. Anyways. Oh, should probably switch camera.
This last exercise builds right on the ghosted lines exercise by making it a little bit more structured and purposeful. Once you're finished lesson 1 and incorporate these exercises into your regular warm-up routine, you may opt to just do the ghosted planes exercise instead of the ghosted lines one. So, a plane. In this case, it's basically any quadrilateral or shape with 4 sides. So, it's not necessarily a rectangle or a square, and it can have sides of any length. This exercise is basically to lay out our points to establish the 4 corners of such a shape, and to draw those edges one at a time while applying the ghosting method. So you should already be reasonably familiar with this. Of course, we're always rotating our pages to find a comfortable angle of approach. And if you're still struggling with overshooting or things like that, don't worry about it. I talked about in the levels of the ghosted lines exercise that, don't worry about still struggling with parts of this technique, because you're going to get lots of mileage with it overall in the fullness of time. So once we've got our 4 corners down and our edges, we will also draw across from corner to corner. We've already got these points down. We're going to create our diagonal.
Apologies. So some ID is saying that we should have the chat in the recording itself, but that means that the screen is going to be this big. Is that alright with you guys, or? Because personally, I'd prefer it like this. Huh? Sorry, but I can't actually go in and add the. I mean, when you're watching the streams, the text should be on the right side, right? Sorry. I'll continue the video.
And lastly, we are going to draw, well, we're going to bisect this plane. So down the middle, don't worry too much about like this line necessarily going straight through the center. I'm not too concerned with that. You'll notice here that my pen's ink kind of died through the middle there. If that happens to you, don't worry about it. What matters is that the lines were drawn, not that they look perfectly solid. Although if that happens to you very often, drawing with a higher angle on your pen, like keeping it more upright, will definitely help with that. So, of course, the whole way through this, we employed the ghosting method, and we marked our start and end points. And we focused on executing that mark finally with confidence, not with wobbling, not with hesitation. Now, while we won't necessarily produce perfect results, the point is to focus on applying these 3 steps to every single mark we make, to have patience, to allow ourselves to demonstrate the best of which we are currently capable, and not to rush or feel like we're supposed to meet some arbitrary standard of speed or efficiency. And once we're done filling the whole page, it'll look something like this. So I've got my planes, reasonably large. I'm not trying to cramp them into small spaces except for maybe here, but that's just because that's the space I had left over. And I'm trying to fill up the whole page, making sure to engage my whole arm when executing these marks. And there it is. Now, this exercise also introduces us to the idea that a drawing may be complicated. It may be made up of countless lines, shapes, forms, etc., and there might be a lot of going on. You may be tempted to feel that because the line you're drawing is just one of, say, 500, that you don't need to go through all the steps, that you can skip them and focus on the big picture. And this sort of thinking can actually happen very easily without us noticing it. Where in the previous exercise, the task itself was to draw lines, and every unit of work that we did in our minds was put towards drawing a single line. Later on, we're going to be drawing boxes, and that same idea of this is the unit of work that I'm applying to this task ends up being applied to boxes, even though those boxes each consist of 6 individual lines. And so if we fall down this trap of thinking, we make the mistake of applying the same amount of effort that you once used for a single line on a whole box. And of course, that's incorrect. So no matter what you're drawing in this course, I want you to focus on executing each and every mark to the best of your current ability. That means being patient, taking your time, and going through all of the steps in every case. Do not rush.
All right. Ooh, Scully Stew. So we haven't heard yours before. 1 hour and 40. Oh, this is the. Oh, this. Alright, so she reads through it and then she does the exercise. Alright, cool. Let's see what she has.
Let's read through the instructions for the ghosted planes. This will probably take longer since there's more steps.
Alright, I just realized I like Crispy Weed better. She's faster and more concise.
Ghosted planes. This exercise is an extension of the previous one. You'll find that we often build on previous concepts in this manner, first presenting an idea, getting some experience with it, and then twisting it to make it just a little more challenging and giving you a little more to think about. About your warm-ups. You'll quickly find that this exercise is basically just a more purposefully organised version of the ghosted lines exercise. As such, you can feel free to do this exercise instead of the ghosted lines when picking exercises to do for your warm-ups at the beginning of a given sitting. When we get into the next section, where we talk about ellipses, you'll learn about the ellipses in planes exercise, which adds yet another level to the exercise and making it an even better combo for warm-ups. Just like with the ghosting exercise, we start out by planning out our marks. Here we're doing so for more than one line at a time. We want to produce some sort of quadrilateral. Don't worry about making all the edges the same length or anything like that. Just place the 4 points on the page wherever it feels right. For each pair of points, rotate your page to find a comfortable angle of approach. Go through the motion as much as is needed to feel comfortable, and then execute the stroke with a confident, persistent pace. No hesitation, no thinking about the plane as a whole. Focus only on the mark you're making at that moment. Some students get too caught up in the big picture of what they're doing, and they lose track of the individual actions. All that matters is what you're doing now, as you make this single mark. To add some more practice with ghosting, go ahead and construct lines between the corners of our plane. Finally, let's bisect the plane in both dimensions, drawing a cross through the centre of the X we created in the previous step. Remember to use the ghosting method for every mark you make. In this case, that means starting with adding your start and end point. Ghosting is going to be a technique you're going to use a lot throughout this course. Now, for those who have tackled perspective before, you may start fussing over things like, how do I know my cross is centered along each edge of the plane, and other concerns. For now, this exercise has nothing to do with perspective. It's just a bunch of lines on a flat page, nothing else to worry about. For any common mistakes, you can look at those listed on the Ghosted Lines page. Keep your pages for this exercise. We're going to use these pages when we get into the ellipses in planes exercise in the next section. Don't throw them away, otherwise you'll have to draw a whole new set. The purpose of this exercise. This exercise is about applying the ghosting method to something slightly more complex than a single line. There will be a similar jump when you get to the boxes section and have to worry about applying this technique to three-dimensional forms. I frequently see students who are used to putting a certain amount of time in per unit of work. In the line section, 1 unit of work is 1 line. In the ellipses section, 1 unit of work is 1 ellipse. Finally, in the boxes section, I'm sure you see where I'm going with this one, 1 unit of work is to them 1 box. But that's not correct. A box consists of several lines, so a box should be equal to as many units of work. This planes exercise has you tackle something that consists of many lines, while also putting the time and focus in for each individual stroke in order to ensure that it is done as well as you can manage. It also takes certain aspects of the ghosting method and spreads them out. For example, in my demonstration above, we lay out all 4 points for the plane before even drawing our first line, fleshing out our requirements early. Similar approaches can be used when drawing things like boxes or more complex forms. Example homework. Here's an example of how you may lay out your page. Try to include a variety of planes and interlock them similarly to this, so you take advantage of all the space the page has to offer. Getting more advanced. This bit here is not for those of you going through the exercise for the first time as part of your lesson 1 homework.
Alright. We won't continue then. So, we'll read that after we've done the exercise then. Yes, so I will set a timer for 15 minutes. And then we will do... How much did it ask for? 2 filled pages is the goal. And yes, no rulers, just from point to point. Now he said in the instructions of the ghosting thing that you shouldn't dead stop on the last dot, but as he was showing the example, he was doing exactly that. So I'm not quite sure of what he wants us to do. I'm gonna lift my pen at the end of the stroke, just because I feel like that's best practice. Oh, sorry for not changing the camera. Here we go. I got my first box square down already. Alright, well, I'm done with my pages. Gonna give you a couple more minutes, and if you haven't finished it, then you can finish it after the stream. We're gonna use it next time, I believe. Or in one of the future sessions, the 2 papers. Alright. So let's finish off by reading that advanced part that we weren't allowed to read before.
Getting more advanced. This bit here is not for those of you going through the exercise for the first time as part of your Lesson 1 homework. As I mentioned in Lesson 0, once you're done with a lesson, you'll continue practicing these exercises as part of a regular warm-up routine. This exercise is especially good for warm-ups, and I generally recommend doing it over the simpler ghosted lines exercise for obvious reasons. It's the same thing, but with more purpose to it. On top of that, however, it's a particularly versatile exercise that can be modified to start incorporating perspective concepts as well. While at its most basic form, I don't want you worrying at all about perspective. As you move forwards through the lessons, you can start to envision these planes as being 3-dimensional rectilinear surfaces. That is, each plane represents a rectangle or a square floating in space. The third and fourth steps, where we construct the diagonals and the cross, can be treated as being a subdivision of the plane. The X to find the centre of the plane in 3 dimensions, and the cross to bisect it. The cross will of course require some estimation to find the centre of each edge in space, but it's a great thing to practice as you move through the rest of the Drawbox lessons.
Alright, very good. So, we will be going on to the free draw now. 30 minutes of free draw. Yay! Reward time! Pokey asks for a prompt. You can simply go to the prompt channel and do that prompt. That's what it's there for. Remember, free draw time is to draw whatever you want, so if you want to use reference, if you want to have a prompt. Alright, let's find a prompt for you since there's no new one in the channel. So here's your prompt. It's called Stand My Ground. Do with it what you want. I will set a timer for 30 minutes. Upload time. Let's have a look at what everyone drew. So here's one I drew of these slime people in an alien world. It's their houses in the background, and you can see he's coming with, he ran out of juice in his bottle. He's a bit drunk, perhaps. And this guy who's walking through a very abstract geometric universe very angrily is probably pissed about being stuck there for so long. Finally, we have this guy stepping up to some kind of mystic tent. And I don't know, those are probably spirits walking around as he steps towards the fortune teller. Ooh, very nice. Still don't know how to make loop. Sorry, my cursive is very bad. Very good. Yes. Ooh, got a couple of dragons here. A knight fighting the big hydra. Oh, it said legs. Yes, just cut whatever you can't draw, just cut it off or turn it into spheres. As you can see, I can't draw proper heads, so I just make do with very circular geometric shapes. Anatomy can come later. Ah, nice, some fandom stuff. Ooh. Where's he? Oh, is that Papyrus holding the angry Flowey? Oh, this is very cool. Is this drawn from memory? It's really good. Oh, I recognize Lapia's art style. That shading. What I see from my window. Wow, you have an amazing view! I wish I had that kind of view. My window is straight into a street. Ooh, he's warding off all the ghosts. It's me at 2 a.m. trying to fall asleep, but my brain keeps coming with these monsters. Oh no, it's the Matrix! He dodges the bullets! Dude, that handgun is shooting hella fast, damn! That's one effective handgun. Oh, this is scary. Oh, he's grabbing his toothbrush and he's got a huge pet spider, very cute. He doesn't look very happy about it though. It's the second one coming for him. Whoa, this is really cool. Batboy, always with the comic book styles. Fighting off. That is a really cool giant. That is really well made. The guy fighting him with a sword, very cool. Got our square. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know why messages are getting eaten up by auto-moderator. I've turned everything off and I've asked online, but I haven't been able to figure out why it is. If anyone can figure it out, let me know in the DMs. 'Cause I surely can't. Ooh, nice drawings. If you want to challenge yourself, try drawing bigger. I think that would move you very far out of your comfort zone, because I can see you like to draw little tiny details. Gotta use the entire shoulder. Ooh. That is some imaginative stuff. Got the The guy's so fast he's splitting in two. He's fighting with his own after image. Jeez, that's windy. And damn, she's got a lot of legs. Oh, she's running really fast. I gotcha. Nice. I like the tree tail. That's a really cool creature. I think that could be fleshed out into something really cool. It's a really nice concept. Uh-oh. Don't... can I join you? No, you'll eat everything. Aww. Well, you should have just brought more food then. This is the guy at fault, not the bear. He's just hungry. He just wants to hang out. Oh, stand your ground. Very cool. Yes, good job with the prompt. Now we've got Nocta with the last one. Ooh, Steven Universe. Ooh, these are really good. These aren't from memory, are they? Well, that's really impressive. Got Steve Arthur sneaking in with the last one here. Some nice gas masks. Reminds me of my roommate back in high school. He'd always walk around with a gas mask. He was really into like first-person shooters and stuff like that. So he'd cosplay the characters in school, in class. Very good friend. Well, that's all I have for you for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. It did get a bit rough, I think, with the 2 pages of squares, but I had fun nonetheless. We were allowed to control CR erase this time, or is it forever banned as part of the exercise? That is your own choice. I recommend that you do not use Control Z, and so does Comfy, the guy running Drawbox. He also says don't use Control Z, don't use Eraser. Learn to continue from your mistakes instead, because otherwise you're never learning the confidence in your lines. I think something like that. Well, but yes, I would just put Control Z out of my mind. Erasers, get rid of that stuff. You don't need it. Really. Alright, well, I'll be hanging out in casual voice chat for a little bit, then I'll go study some Japanese. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and sleep well when you get to there. Bye-bye!